Thank you for joining me today. I am your Kingdom Ambassador and host, Ty Chandra. Hi, hi, hi. Welcome to the Who God Says podcast. I created this podcast to be transparent about my own spiritual journey in finding my God given purpose. And I'm hoping that we have others that would be willing to share their process and their pain points as well. So we will have guests on the show, so stay tuned for that. But today I want to talk to you guys about the power in your name. As we know that words have power. And if you are a believer in the kingdom of God, you know that God uses words to form and create things. So words have power and your name also have power, right? So I want to start today with a quote. And the quote is by Patrick Kiko Mabilog from ChristianToday.com. And he wrote, "There is power in the names and labels that you place on yourself, and also in the names and labels you allow other people to place on you." Hmm. Let it sink in for a second. If we know that God created the heavens and the earth, the stars and the universe, and the oceans and seas with words, how powerful is it for someone to speak something over you and you accept that and you walk in it and you live in it? And it can be powerful as a positive thing, and it can also be powerful as a negative thing. But this is so true for me because I'm going to say my name again. It's Ty Chandra. And there is a reason I'm repeating my name, but let's dive in. The topic is very important to me because most of my life I hated my name. I did not like my name. It was too long. It was ghetto. It was stupid. I didn't like it. It made absolutely no sense to me at all. Didn't like it. There were people who tried to make me feel a little bit better about it. They were like, "Oh, it's cute. It's unique. Nobody else gonna have that name." I wasn't worried about it. I didn't like it. I thought it was ridiculous. Once I got to the age where, you start thinking about yourself and who you are and who you want to be, especially I believe when I first started saying I really didn't like my name, I was around maybe 10 or 11 years old. And I was like, it was too long. If I was going to be a famous actor, then it has to be something short and cute that everybody's going to remember. It had to be something that everybody likes saying and things like that. So when I was a little girl, I wanted to be an actress. And what really set it off for me was, no pun intended, not set it off, but it was Whitney Houston. So The Bodyguard, the movie The Bodyguard, just took my breath away. I was like, oh my God, I want to do this. So I have always wanted to be an actress. And I wanted to be a singing actress, an actress that knows how to sing, not a singer that knows how to act. Because I just felt like as I grew up, I could tell the difference. I can tell, oh, she's a singer and they got her acting in this movie. But I wanted to be a true actress that can also sing. And when I say sing, I mean like hold a note, not Adina Menzel, because oh my God, not Aretha Franklin. I mean like I'm nice with it with acting, but I'm good at singing, and I could pull it off. So I wanted to be the young Whitney Houston, and I didn't feel like my name matched what I thought I wanted to do. So some of the nicknames that I used to call myself, and I can remember because I'm from New Orleans. We have nicknames for everybody, and our nicknames can be based on what you look like, um, what you do. It could be based on who your parents was. It could be based on where you live. So we have nicknames. If you was a chubby baby, you might have your nickname be Fat Fat. If you were a skinny baby, your nickname might be Noodle. It's funny because I called my daughter Noodle. But yeah, so I'm from New Orleans. We have nicknames. You know, Ray Ray Pookie and them. Yeah, we have those nicknames. So as far as I go, I had a lot of nicknames growing up that I wanted to call myself because I didn't like my name. So I called myself Shorty, which I am short, but short people rule the world. Project, Smiley, Holly Grove, and my favorite is Ty. But I had all kind of excuses on why I didn't like my name and why I had to use a nickname. It started out I wanted to be an actor. Then it was I didn't like it and I thought I was a Power Ranger till I was 19 years old. So the nicknames that I had, they didn't fit me either. But hey, I wanted the nicknames. I didn't want the name that was given to me at birth. So my mindset was so messed up that I remember the name Project, the nickname Project. I felt good to be called Project. It For me, it was like first of all the way it started. So when I was in middle school, my friends and I we called ourselves, oh my god, the Rockhead Clique. Oh my god. Yes. Okay. So we called ourselves the Rockhead Clique, right? So it was five of us. It was crazy, mental, throwed off, ghetto, and I was Project. Oh my god, it's so ridiculous. But my mindset at the time, I thought it was cute. It was our group. We belonged together. Like one was feeding off the other, which is another topic. Um, but it was something we all thought was cute. We thought it was funny. So hey, let's do this. We the Rockhead Click. I'm Project. You crazy? I don't even know how I got the name Project. I guess they just assumed that that would be something that fit. So yeah, I was Lil Project One, but my mindset was so messed up that I accepted that. I thought that was a good thing. I thought it was cute, and so I just became what I was called, and I was called Project for a while. Like that came, and I think about sixth grade. And yeah, it was a long time. I think maybe until I graduated high school, I was Project. But I became what I was called. That was what I accepted. And I wore it well. Like I was loud, which I am kind of loud. You got to hear me. But I was loud, carrying on in kind of way. I used to fight. Like, oh, I used to fight. Okay, so fighting, we gotta give credit where credit is due. Most of that is accredited to my brother. Um, so he got to take some of his credit. I'm gonna take my part of it. He got to take his part of it. But he used to send me out like a pit bull to attack people. Like seriously, a pit bull coked up on cayenne pepper. That was me. That was if he said get him, I'm gonna get him and just let me off the leash and I was gone. That was my brother. He contributed to it. So not only did I accept it, but I accepted things that was contributing to it. I ain't say, boy, I'm not fighting her. I don't even know her. Why you want me to fight her? I didn't say that. I was like, Mama, you ain't about to mess with my brother. There we go. We fighting. So project it is. Project it was I was all out ignorant. Not ignorant, not having a lack of knowledge. I was ignorant. That ghetto hot mess ignorant. That's what I was. I was ignorant. Hmm. And I was not afraid to say what I want, which I still am not afraid to say what I want. But now I understand the ease of filtering the things that I say so that I don't offend other people mostly. he ain't done with me yet. So yeah, I'm very blunt, but I was not afraid to say anything. I would say anything. I don't care what it was. I would do anything. I At that time I was around a lot of boys, so it was like my brother, his friends, my cousins, and everything. And it was like, if they can do it, I could do it. He was lifting weights, I'm gonna lift weights. He was playing football, I could play football too. He was backflipping, I was backflipping. They was backflipping off the shade, I backflipped off the shade. They jumping fences and doing this. I was there too. That was me. But I never really cared what anybody had to say. I was never a person that someone could talk about me, or like we had ribbon in school. When I would get real, I would laugh. So it didn't affect me. If it was funny, it was funny. And like I wasn't a person that get embarrassed a lot. I had a lot going on, but I didn't get embarrassed. So I guess project just really fit me. So I wore project out. Like I breathed that. Like that was everything. Matter of fact, I was so project that there was this girl who I kind of started hanging out with. She was about 5 years older than me, and she had already had, I think, 2 or 3 kids, something like that. Now, this is at this time, I had graduated high school, so I'm 17 years old now. I actually graduated high school when I was 16, but I wanted to walk with my class, so I waited until graduation day so I can walk with my class. Then I missed it, but it's okay. So I was 17 years old. I kind of started hanging out with this girl. She was a little bit older than me, about 5 years older. And her brother, who was Fawn, he liked me. But she didn't want her brother to talk to me. She didn't want her brother to be my boyfriend. There was another girl she wanted him to be with because she worked and she made money and all this, and she had a car. So she was one of those people that if you don't have anything that benefits her, then you really don't need to be around. But um we were hanging around because she liked my friend. So she thought by hanging with me she could get closer to my friend, but I could not get closer to her brother. But I understand this as I got older. So I found out that she was talking about me to the other girl who she wanted her brother to be with. So we were not cool for long. That's not, I don't do that. You can imagine. Project got a little project. So again, I was 17 at the time, and I just remember her standing on her porch, cussing me out. I mean, like a dog. Oh, she was saying that she was gonna beat me, but she ain't gonna touch me because I was a child. And when I turned 18, she was gonna whoop me, and I better be ready because she gonna stomp a mud hole in me. Now, mind you, I'm 17. Um, I'm project, but I'm still respectable. So I'm not gonna cuss in front of my dad. Um, I don't. I was project in a sense, but I was still that respectable little girl. Like everybody in the neighborhood knew me because they knew who my dad was. They knew who my mom was. So it wasn't like I'm gonna be acting a fool to the point where I'm gonna be cussing up and down the street and some adult tell me something and I just done lost my mind. Oh no, because back then when the elders saw you acting a fool, they don't wait for your parents. Oh, they will snatch you. And then when your daddy get off from work, he gonna say, "Oh, I had to get your daughter. She went inside. I snatched her right quick," and it'll be all good. We don't got that no more, but it's okay. So she was on her porch and she was cussing me out. She was saying she was gonna whoop me. She couldn't wait till I make 18. I better stop playing with her because I'm a little girl. Now, I was project, but I was also big on your word. Like I'm still big on your word. When you tell me something, I need you to stand 10 toes down on what you're telling me. Because if you don't have your word and words have power, then you don't have nothing. I stand on that. I was like that as a child. I knew early. Say what you mean and what you say. That's all to it. Now,
Hi everyone. Join the Kingdom Fanatics community, get exclusive content, green room access with our guests, and more. Visit our website at whogodsays.com. Like and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate your love and support. To find all information on joining our community, being a guest on the show, donating on our PayPal donation page, and more, visit us at whogodsays.com. Now back to the show.
When I turned 18, and I mean the day I turned 18, on my birthday, I went to this girl house. I knocked on the door. I had money pinned on my shirt. I just had my hair done. I'm going to age myself a little bit, but I just got my barrel and pin curl ponytail done. And I stood outside her door. I knocked on the door and she said, "Who is it?" And I said, "This is Project. I'm 18 today. So you coming outside or what?" Oh, she didn't know what I was talking about. Because mind you, after all of this cussing me out and all this and that, I didn't talk to her. I saw her. I passed right by. I have nothing to say to you at all. There is nothing for me to say. So when I went to her house and I was on her porch and I said, "I'm 18 today. You coming outside?" She was confused. She was like, "What is she talking about? Why? Like, I don't talk to this girl." She was like, "Girl, what are you talking about? I don't even talk to you. What are you talking about?" I said, "You told me that you was going to stump me when I make 18." So I stood on her porch and she just would not come outside. She was hooping and hollering and cussing back, cussing and everything from the door still closed. And I was like, "Okay, all of that, come outside." Now, mind you, Project had to be bold because, baby, you don't know what this lady got behind her door. She could have just shot me off her porch. But again, Project was ignorant, baby. Project said, "You could come from out that door. I don't care about what you're saying. You could say this, you could say that. Come from out that door." She ain't move. She didn't move. I kind of got tired of standing there. So I walked off her porch and I was on the sidewalk at this point. So she comes out her door when I walked off. And when she came out the door, she caught a whole nother world of trouble. And the reason why is because she walked out the door. She was hollering and screaming, talking about, "Girl, I'm gonna F you up. You gonna come on my porch with all this nonsense. I'm gonna F you up. I will drag you." So I turned around and I'm standing there and I'm like, "Girl, you fake. You scared of me or something?" The whole time, one of my older cousins, her name is Keisha, she was sitting in her car. I did not know. I didn't even know that was her car. She was sitting in her car and she just looked up and she saw somebody fussing and carrying on. And so and she looked at the girl on the porch and then she looked at me. And it's like she was connecting the dots. Like, is she talking to her? Or she talking to somebody else? My cousin Keisha got on her call and said, "I know she not talking to my little cousin." Keisha didn't even know that I was 18 at the time. For some reason, in the older people eyes in our family, we are always going to be 14-year-olds. So for her, I wasn't even 18. She thought I was still in middle school or just going to high school. So she was like, "I know she's not talking to my little cousin." That girl got a whole world, a whole dose and she wasn't from Hollywood. She wasn't even from New Orleans. She got a whole dose of Holly Grove that day. I bet she regretted it. But needless to say, there wasn't many more words after, "Oh, you not gonna F with my little cousin." And that was that. But I lived Project through and through. through and through. I lived that. Like, I started a big, huge fight at Harrell Park at a football game. Like, I lived that. Our project was it for me. Like, that was me to a T. Ain't nobody gonna tell me nothing. I do what I want. I say what I want. I go where I want. I have whatever you see. That's me. Ain't no correction needed. None of that. So that was project. That was me. But I lived that. I lived that through and through. But there were some things I would not tolerate as I got older. I was a project girl, but I had standards. I was hood as hell, but I was smart. I was. Um, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. A combination of being hood and smart. Yeah, that was me. That was me. So like I could have been the female version of James St. Patrick. That kind of hood and smart. Yeah. Bug eye. Bug eye. That yeah, that's another story. Bug eye. So I took that name and all the other names and I wondered why I was surrounded by ignorance. As I started to really come into a young woman and starting to understand different things, after I had my first child, I was 19 years old and I was in Georgia because of Hurricane Katrina. And I started to kind of really think about things. I ended up moving back home because of a death in the family. And I would really sit around and look at my family and the people and what I was doing with myself and everything. And I was like, I'm surrounded by ignorance. I'm surrounded by ignorance, people with no accountability, hanging out everywhere, anywhere, doing nothing, just nothing, like nonsense, like just nothing. I got some stories, y'all. Like, I got some stories, but it was pointless. I started to really kind of realize a lot of things were pointless. So I would kind of try to get my head on straight and say, you know what, I think I should probably start looking for a career. Like I did hair for a long time. And that was something that I was like, okay, I've been doing that since I was 12 years old. I used to braid hair in the project, in a Calio project on my sister's porch. So I have been a little entrepreneur most of my life. I was 12 years old and I was braiding hair. I did micro braids. When micro braids came out, everybody wanted them. I was doing micro braids for $50 a head, and I was doing really good. I was 12 years old, but I at the age of about 20, 19, 20 years old, 21, I just was like, I need to get myself together. Like I need more. I need more. And I did a lot of things like business wise and making money for myself and everything. And we can talk about that later. But when I moved back home, it felt like my world got turned upside down again. And so it's really crazy because my nicknames would change like every other year, almost like my relationships. One of my cousins, he's a guy, he would tell the person I'm dating, just don't get on her nerves. Because he like, if you get on her nerves, then it's over for you. If you plan on sticking around, please don't get on her nerves. You would be out. You would be out like a burnt out candle. Like you were no good. Like you would be gone. Like he just, he wrong for that. I can joke about it now, but yeah. One of my ex's moms, she used to call me Shawnee, and I thought that was so cute. But needless to say, there were a lot of names. But hey, in about 2012, I think is when I really started to use the name Ty professionally. And Ty is a part of my name, so I thought, hey, that could work because it's a shorter version. You know, if anybody wants to know my name, they can remember Ty. And then if it's like some paperwork or something like that, then I hit them with the whole name on legal documents, like bam, 10 letters, read them and weep. But Ty has definitely stuck around for a long time, and even my family members called me Ty. Um, so that one has stuck around. But I'm telling you all of these names and all of these stories and everything, just so you can get the understanding of how words have power, how your words and which you accept that people call you. And when you tell people to call you, those can shape, it can shape your environment. It shapes your mindset because you accept this, you believe this, you breathe this, you walk it out, you talk it out, you become this. And it really shapes your environment and your character. So, what you're called and what you have spoken over you is very, very important. So, y'all, I was doing Bible study and I realized that God was coming through, like he was busting through the Bible, changing up people names. Because again, your name has power, right? So I'm just gonna go check my notes to let you guys know some of the names that God and Jesus was like, nah, I know you like this name, but I'm gonna call you this. So Abraham's name was Abram. Okay, and God changed it to Abraham, which means father of nations, right? Abraham's wife name was Sarah, but it was Sarai. Sarai was changed to Sarah, which means noble woman. Jacob was changed to Israel, which means God perseveres. Saul, Saul, the murderer of Christians, his name was changed to Paul, which means humble. I just want this to sink in for you because Saul, whose name was changed to Paul, is Apostle Paul, who wrote the majority of the books in the New Testament of the Bible. So if he didn't humble himself, oh my God, when he spoke that over there, oh no, your name is Paul, he had to humble himself. He was to kill Christians. Your name has power. And I actually was viewing a Transformation Church service today, and Pastor Mike Todd talked about pretty much this. And when he mentioned Simon, he mentioned one of the apostles named Simon, and I laughed because Jesus changed Simon's name to Peter. And there's a reason why. Because Simon means weak. Peter means rock. So he had to be strong. You have to be strong to be a part of the kingdom of God. But your name has power. Really quickly, Isaiah 62 says, "You will be called by a new name that the mouth of the Lord will bestow." So if you are walking in something, if you are walking in something, if you're accepting something, if you're accepting to be called something, and that does not line up with the purpose that God has for your life, He's going to change that name. He's going to change that name. You'll be surprised. You'll be like, why they calling me that? What 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 what's going on? Why they calling me that? Okay. For some people, God had to go get them and take them from one thing and turn them into another. Now, for me, it was the opposite. So my name, it might be crazy, ridiculous, ghetto is what I thought. I had so many excuses on why I didn't like this name. It might be crazy, but God takes you and He calls you His chosen. If your name is depressed, He calls you delivered. If your name is a murderer, He calls you redeemed. If your name is addiction, He calls you free. If your name is gossip, He tells you that you're called. And if your name is a whore, come on now, we all know we have had a thought season. If your name is a whore, He call you whole. If your name is procrastination, He'll call you purpose. If your name is fake, phony, full of, He calls you faithful. God will take you and turn you into something else. He'll take you right from where you are and He'll turn you into something else. Allow God to label you. He knows you the best. He knows what's best. Stop answering and attaching yourself to just anything. Now, with me, I believe God was storing things up because I wanted to call myself so many other things. Everything except my own name. I wanted to be everything except my own name. Like, I wanted to be anything else. Call me Project. Call me Holly Grove. That was where I'm from. Hey, call me Holly Grove. Holly Grove. Yes, that's me. Or you can call me Ty. I wanted to be called everything else except my name. Now, God came in and took me from where I was and put me back in the place where He called me to be. I'm going to tell you what my name means. Okay. Let me spell it out for you. So, first of all, Ty, Ty, Sean, Shaun, and Dra, Dra, right? I broke up my name like that for a reason because each syllable in my name has a meaning. So Ty means rock or sharp. Sean means God is gracious. And Dra means leader. Yes, come on. Tell me God doesn't know what he's doing. If you know me, I'm not a really pushy person, but I have a presence about me. And I'm not bragging on myself. This is something that people have told me. In any job that I work the job like I own the business. So it's just a presence about me. Like these is things that people have told me. I'm not going to say it about myself. I'm just repeating it because I want you to understand. I wanted to be something else. I wanted to be labeled something else. But the label that God had already given me is what He wanted me to walk in. Um, One of my favorite scriptures is Isaiah 49:1. And it's so significant because it lets you know that the power in your name is important. So Isaiah 49:1 says, Before I was born, the Lord called me from my mother's womb. He has spoken my name. Y'all, I've been running, ducking, hiding, and hating who God says I already was. For me, God didn't come to get me from one thing and turn me into another. He pushed me through the things I were already going through to get me to discover myself. Like I had to learn what he already spoke over me, who he already assigned me to be. I had to learn to believe in his belief in me. And it's crazy because my mom didn't even name me. She had no idea that this is the meaning of my, well, she knows now because she knows now, but she had no idea that the name that she was placing on that birth certificate was predestined before I was formed in the womb. God spoke my name. Now, the crazy thing is that God used my sister to speak my name. My mom didn't even come up with a name, but it was who God says I was supposed to be, a strong, godly leader. Now, my dad said he wanted me to be called something else, but he got put out the hospital, which is a whole nother story. But my dad's name is Gregory. Continuing on with how your name has power, my dad's name is Gregory. And in Greek, it means watchful and vigilant. In Hebrew, it means spiritual vigilance. Y'all, your name is powerful. It's mind blowing for me to read that my father's name means spiritual vigilance. I couldn't keep my mouth closed when I found that out. It was wide as a fly trap. Like I could not keep my mouth. I was like, oh my God. If you knew my dad, you would know exactly how that applied to who he was as a person. First of all, in the neighborhood, everybody knew him. So there wasn't anywhere I could go without somebody saying, "Oh, I know you," which they didn't know me. They just knew who my dad was because we look like I look like my dad. I look like my mom, but I look like my dad. So everybody, everywhere I go, "Oh, I know you. I know your daddy." Now the second thing is he didn't play, especially when it came to children and their well being. He didn't play. He did not play at all. My dad was the very first person I ever saw step in on behalf of someone else being wronged. That was big for me. That was very big. He was well respected, and as much as I didn't understand why when I was growing up, he took care of the hood. He would cook for everybody, and I would be like, "Sir, what you doing? We need no red beans. Like, we only got 2 pack of red beans left. We need no red beans. We got a whole month to go before we get another book of food stamps." Like, oh my god! But that's how he was. He would feed everybody. He would take people in. And he was always getting in somebody's mess. Now that's not like he was messy and nosy and everything, but he actually would step in for people. Like he was a big protector, and he would discipline everybody, children. So no, like he didn't play. He was very protective. I didn't fully really understand this until actually his funeral service. I didn't grasp the bigger picture of my father and his character and his vigilance until his funeral service. Because God made him so vigilant, he impacted so many people that I was so surprised. I mean, I knew that my guy was a good guy. My dad was a good guy. But when you just see that, like, it was really an outpour of love. And it was like, oh my God. Like, I was expecting to have a little small service with me and my siblings, my mom, his siblings, and his mom, and just, have a service, say our goodbyes, and that be that. But oh my God, when the people start coming in, I'm like, well, who is all these people? When they start coming in, and then I was like, okay, let's just let the people say some things if they want to say some things. I was like, oh my God, like I, I had no idea how he was actually there for other people. So I'm like, your name, yes, definitely, your name is so important. The words that is spoken over you, what you call yourself, what you accept. Mr. Gregory, vigilance was him through and through. He was a protector. He gonna watch out for everybody. Ain't nobody gonna play with him like Mr. Gregory. Yes, vigilance was he is vigilance. That's him. So God has showed me time and time again that the things that we speak, the things that we speak over ourselves, the things that we allow people to speak over us, those things shape us. It shape us. They show us who we are. You know how people tell you evaluate your circle? You know, birds of a feather flock together, that type of stuff. Evaluate your circle. But sometimes we need to evaluate ourselves. Evaluate ourselves. Evaluate, what is it that I'm calling? Because you could be calling things too to yourself. What is it that I'm calling? And I know in our culture, nicknames are very common and we get them from whatever, right? But what are you answering to? Like the elders used to say, it's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. What are you answering to? What are you receiving that people are saying about you? Or that you have said about yourself and somebody took that and ran with it. Or you say about yourself, and because there was no one else in your corner to say, girl, don't say that, you continuously speak that over yourself, continuously. and you become that, even though that was not God's intention for you. I went about a year and a half calling myself a thought. I had a thought season, and I was like, I'm thoughting. It's a thought season because that was the trending thing. That was popular. And then if a man hear me say I'm thoughting and he disrespect me, now we got a problem. But I say I was thoughting. You have to understand what you are putting out, what you are taking in, and what you're speaking over yourself. Are you answering to something that is killing you from the inside out? Are you speaking something that is killing you from the inside out? Because a lot of times we speak stuff because we believe it. We need to answer to the things that are going to push us into purpose and push purpose out of you. We have to counteract the things that we put out, the things that we're so accustomed to, the things that are so common. Um, we have to get into the act of encouragement and encouraging for ourselves. It it might be a stretch for you to encourage somebody else. It might be a stretch for you to say, "Well, girl, you look good today," and not feel like you lied about it, or just say, "Girl, she want me to go around lying to people. I don't like her like that to be telling her she look good." No, it might be a stretch for you to encourage people. Let's start with encouraging yourself. Let's start with waking up in the morning saying, "Good morning, Jesus. We're gonna have a good day today. I'm with you, you with me. Let's go." Start with encouraging yourself. I want you to relax and reflect today. Think about some of the things you have allowed to be spoken over your life and ask yourself, is this really who I am? Is this really who I want to be? Is this who God says I am? And it's okay if the answer is, I don't know. I don't know who I am. I don't know. Let me just take account of what's going on in my life. I don't know. But just by asking yourself that question, you're on the road to discovery, of discovering who you are. You're asking the right questions now. And there was only one person who knew who he was before making it to this earth. There was only one. Only one person knew beforehand who he was without the world, and that was Jesus. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today on the Who God Says podcast with your host and Kingdom Ambassador, Ty Chandra. Go to whogodsays.com to join the mailing list for episode premieres, upcoming guests, and more. Send in your questions to be a part of the show at whogodsays@gmail.com. And don't forget, join the Kingdom Fanatic community. Until next time, be blessed and also be a blessing.